Hollywood Boulevard and this Walk of Fame has always meant a lot to me because I was born at Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital, September 16th, 1949. Now that date may remind you of something. Peter's birthday was September 16th. And that was the angle that I used to ingratiate myself to one Peter Falk. I had the good fortune, a director by the name of Jim Frawley cast me in a small part in Colombo in 1977, and I used everything. Hartford, Connecticut, where my dad was from, my dad, who knew Peter a little bit, and my birthday to try to get close to Peter Falk, and somehow it worked. I wound up working in a movie called The In-Laws, and we were down in Quinta. The In-Laws, thank you so much. And so we became close on The In-Laws. We began to share our birthdays together September 16th. So, you know, he's one of the men I admired most as an actor. He was a wonderful human being, and Shara, his wife, and I are still very close. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady, and this is an honor for her, too. I just want to say something about friendship. You know, I have some friends in my life, but I hope I one day have a friend like Joe Mantegna. He is one of the great friends that you could ever want to have for what he's done for Peter. He did all the heavy lifting. Paul and I had a minor role in this, but the people at NBC, Universal, and MeTV had a role, but all the heavy lifting really, from what I could see, was done by one Joe Mantegna. He's a great guy. And to see all these people here today that Peter loved, and Dabney Coleman. And I just want to say, Dabney's getting a star soon in the Walk of Fame, and I hope they have more security and crowd control than this, because we're not just talking about Colombo, we're talking about Slap Maxwell here. And normally they put a star, Dabney, actually on Hollywood Boulevard. In your case, they got a very special spot down at Hudson and DeLongpre. It's right in front of a veterinary clinic, and I hope that the people are careful when they bring their dogs out of there, is all I can say. Now, you're a great friend to Peter, too. Dabney and I and Peter had many wonderful evenings together, and you know that Dabney was on a roll when he could get Peter to weep openly out of that glass eye of his. It was high praise indeed when you got him crying and crying, and Dabney did that often because he was a great friend. So I'm very grateful to be here. I'm going to turn the mic over to others, and Peter, we will never, ever forget you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. What I like the setup. I'm talking to you and our distinguished guests. You can look at my butt. So, Dabney, legendary Dick Van Dyke, stare at my pants. It is an honor to be here. You know, very often you hear actors and people in entertainment talk about the moment of inspiration when they first, early in their lives, found their calling. And you hear about actors who go to kids who go to a theater and see a play and fall in love with theater, or see a movie and fall in love with acting and just with film. And from my story was a little different. I was 8 years old and went to see Robin and the Seven Hoods. And I fell in love with Peter Falk. I didn't say, gee, I need to be an actor, gee, I need to be a gangster in the 1920s, none of that. But something about Peter Falk registered, and I just said, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anybody talk like that and be that funny and engaging. And I watched over the years everything, and I was always drawn to him, and there was something magical about him. And I was very lucky I got to do this movie with Peter that was a dream come true for me, because it was something that I wrote specifically for Peter, and one of the greatest days of my life when he said, yeah, let's do this. And the thing that struck me, not only was it a joyful experience, but watching people respond to Peter and being out in the world with him is quite a circus. And it was astonishing to see how universal the love for Peter Falk was and continues to be. Everybody of every age from anywhere in the world knew him, loved him, and it would get a smile if I just said, he was like, what are you doing? I said, I'm working with Peter Falk, and they would just smile. There's something about him that brought out the best in people, and older guys wanted to be his friends, younger guys wanted to get next to him, thought he was just the coolest, hippest uncle you could possibly have. Women threw themselves at him. It was annoying, frankly. And and I realized that I was not alone, that there always has been something magical about Peter, and that light that hit me when I was 8 continues to shine, and it is very fitting that there is a star long overdue. Again, thank you, Joe Mantegna, for making this happen. And I bet if you put a little security camera here and you watch people's smiles, there'll be more smiles around the Peter Falk star than perhaps others. It is an honor to be here, and Peter, we love you and think of you all the time. Thank you.
Behind you, take care. First off, I just would like to thank the organizations and individuals who made today possible, which include Neil Saban and Molly Kelly from MeTV, who do all the Columbo reruns, and they're out of Chicago, which means a special thing for me. And also Ron Meyer and Nate Kirkman from NBC Universal. And of course my dear friends Paul Reiser, Ed Begley, and Dan Loria, who all contributed to help make today possible, as well as Hannah Martinez from the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and of course Laurent Googler. As this is the close of the ceremony for the star marking the career of Peter Falk, this would have been the time Peter himself would have spoken. In lieu of that, let me be so bold as to offer a few words in his stead. Most importantly, I know Peter would not even want to be here. For Peter, accolades and recognitions such as this was something he neither sought nor desired. For Peter, it was always about the work. And the only way we could have gotten him here would have been to tell him it was to do extensive rehearsals for it. And then he would have been glad to show up and donated all the time we would need. But I know he would have appreciated all the smiles and all the faces of the people who are here. And among those of us who knew them well, we all knew that Peter, though he may have been the firecracker, his wife Shara was the fuse. The love they shared was as fiery and strong as their personalities, and the phrase that behind every great man is a great woman is not wasted here. Peter would have smiled at all this, but ultimately he might have asked, why do this? It's not necessary. Let the memory people have for me speak for itself. Well, I have my own answer to that. When I was a teenager and having not an inkling of what I wanted to do with my life, I can still remember sitting in front of an old black and white television at my parents' house watching a TV drama called The Price of Tomatoes. By the end of that film, all I could think about was how much it moved me and how taken I was by this strange and mysterious looking actor who starred in it. What a blessing for me that in later years I would come to know, work with, and love this special man. I'd like to think there are countless young men and women who will take that similar path that I did and will discover the brilliance of the talent of this unique artist, except they'll never get the chance to really know him. It will have to suffice that he's left behind a treasure trove of great performances for them to savor and love, but there is one thing that they can and will be able to do. They can walk down this boulevard and glance down and be able to say, hey, I know that actor. He's the one that made me laugh, made me cry, made me think. The star is not for you, Peter. It's for them, your fans. Those legions of folks who felt they knew you like a father, an uncle, or whatever, but God knows they adored you. Those of us who spent time with you will forever remember the smiles you brought to people's faces when you were just out in public. Because we knew the smiles were more than just the recognition of a star. It was the smiles of those who felt a simpatico with you. You were one of them. You were that imperfect everyman that every one of us in this profession often strive to be. That's why it's important you're here, Peter, for them. A few years ago, my family and friends conspired to pursue getting a spot for me on this boulevard, and it did indeed come to pass. When I was asked if there was a spot I'd like to choose for the star, the one thought that came to my mind was to be next to my childhood idol, Errol Flynn. That star is right there. I'm standing on my own. And I hope you'll forgive my selfishness, Peter, but when I was asked where we'd like yours to be placed, I felt this was the one chance I'd have to be between two of my idols. From this day forward, Peter, your fans will have to walk all over me to get to you, and I couldn't be happier for it. Thank you all for coming.